Hi, this is Lauren from B2Me Marketing, a digital marketing agency based up on the Gold Coast, and I'm joined by James Davis, director at Pax8 Academy. And today we are going to talk about some of the struggles that MSPs are having with their marketing. So, just to get straight into it, James, what are you seeing the industry struggling with?
All of it.
Well,
Is that too broad? Um, Honestly, as an industry, we're not very good at marketing in general, and a lot of the reason for that is we're just not attuned to it. The industry's been built off the back of technical owners. The whole e-myth thing, we're very good at doing what we do, but we don't understand the other business components of our operations. So marketing and sales is typically very opposite to the technical brain, and it all stems from there around not understanding it, not really bought into it either. Is the other thing. Like, you hear me say a lot, sales is a dirty word. So is marketing, for a lot of MSP owners, and we're very proud from growing our businesses to the sizes we are off the back of feeling like we haven't done any marketing and we haven't done any sales. But there's a certain point where you get to where what I like to call the friends and family circle, your little
yep.
network, it's only going to get you so far. And referrals are only going to get you so far in your business journey. And that's where marketing comes into play. And so I'm curious because you're the marketing expert. Like when you engage with an MSP, where would you start with an MSP and talking about marketing?
Well, firstly, yeah, we try and figure out what their goal is, their why are they doing it. A lot of businesses haven't perhaps thought about that. Again, when they started it off, it was something that they were passionate about. They, started their business. They had like you said, circle of friends and family that they could start and grow with. Sales was, quite easy, or they didn't even look at it as sales. It was, yeah, all referral based. And so trying to get them to change that way of thinking as the audience and consumers have adapted, and like you say, you're going to only get so far with that circle. We then have to try and get them into that mindset of, okay, well, what makes you different? And a lot of them can't answer that. So we start by asking those tough questions. Why are you doing it? What value are you bringing? Because most of the time when I say what makes you different, even their answer straight to me, and I know it's behind closed doors, but it's like, we don't know. We don't know. We're just just an IT services company, and I'm like, okay, right. Well, a lot of work's got to be done because we can't go out to market with that. It's,
That's the challenge. I say the same thing. Often I don't, when I ask that question, when I ask the whole unique value proposition, everyone has the same answers. So
mhm,
it's not really unique. So the comments that I always hear are, oh, we respond really quickly and we have text on
mhm.
the phone. Everyone does that. We've got a really good stack and we manage it very well. That's what everyone else does. We provide IT advice for the business.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
it's
the
even
same.
the strategic partnership stuff I now hear all of the time. They've evolved from going, okay, some of those perhaps statistics, all right, we've got to mature. Let's say we're a strategic partner. I've walked into a meeting before where, prior to walking in, they've given me a list of their competitors. So then into the meeting, I've then brought up every one of their competitors' websites, and it's in, we're a strategic partner. We're a strategic. Okay, so that's not how you're different.
And you probably have the same thing as me where I have to look at a lot of MSP websites, obviously. They all look the same
Yep.
as
Yep.
well. So it's all the same generic stock photos, all the same generic layouts, all the same color schemes a lot of the
hmm
time. So that's where I see the challenges in the marketing and why we fail is we're not able to distinguish ourselves in the market. And often what I've understood from direct
hmm
experience in having to do sales of MSP, it's very much based on trust-based sales. It's not
hmm
like, say, I used to work in the trade services, gardening and that sort of stuff. people understand what gardening is or cleaning is, and they're basing it on some qualities around do you show up on time and think some of those sort of things. And we don't have to explain what we actually do.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas MSP sales, it's all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
Like people don't understand the technology environment that they've got, so they're not actually sure what they're buying. They just know they need some form of IT help,
Mm-hmm.
and so they don't. You can't actually shotgun market
Mm-hmm.
because that's not how people buy. And that's where I think MSPs start to go wrong, and you probably have to see the expectations. Is that what you just said there around the amount of work to get ready for a marketing strategy? People
Mm-hmm.
want immediate results, so they expect to be able to switch on like Google Ads, switch on
Mm-hmm.
SEO, and then magically they get all these leads falling out. Is that how it
Yeah.
works?
Oh, I wish. I wish I could just turn something on and yeah, just deliver a fountain full of leads. But no, it doesn't. And then that's where I see a lot of MSPs turn to content syndication, which for the MSP that just wants this spoonful of content come delivered onto their website straight away, but it's not providing them any value. It's not delivered in the way that they would deliver it to their customers. So again, they're getting a completely different tone of voice, different angles to the way they would take it. And also, it does have a knock-on effect because it's essentially duplicated content on the web. It can actually then impact if you are also running an SEO campaign at the same time, because yeah, Google will detect that. And then I heard someone recently just said, "Oh, we'll just turn it off so that that page can't be crawled on Google." I'm like, so then what's the point of it? Other than perhaps to create a newsletter that you can send out with some helpful articles. But if you're not getting any benefit from it being on your site, you might as well just have a newsletter with links off to the original site. If are stuck for ideas and don't know where to begin, content syndication can be that stepping stone to go, okay, right, here's a rough idea on how we can evolve and tailor it the way we want. But yeah, it really comes down to them. If you take it back and think about with your friends and family, the reason why they bought off of you back then is they know you as a person and they trust you. And again, make your brand human. Now, a lot of them say that they deliver their services in a human way, but if you can actually be the face on social media as well, then again, whilst you may have exhausted your, in-person friends and family, if you apply the same logic and people get to know you on a much wider platform on social, then it'll be more effective. Does that make sense?
It does, and I think I'm going to show my age in the industry now. I remember probably 6, 7 years ago when everyone got excited about pronto marketing
Mm,
and the whole syndicated content, and like nearly everyone was rushing to it because we were all trying to work out the whole marketing component, and it sounded like a great idea. Funnily enough, because so many people bought into it, the content became useless because every single MSP was shoveling out the same content. And what I found as well from my experience, a lot of this syndicated content is all like technology based. It's all,
mhm,
and if I'm a business owner, which I am,
mhm,
and I'm not running an MSP, none of that stuff matters to me. And we don't understand what our clients need. And
mhm,
that's where we struggle with the unique value proposition because we
mhm,
see what we do is super important, which components of it, really are to maintaining a good small SMB organization.
mhm.
But we're not really meeting the client where they're at. We keep talking in technical terms. The whole fact that we call ourselves MSPs, our clients don't. So that says more than enough to me that we're getting it wrong in our setting the perception and setting the value for the clients and prospects because we don't actually know and we haven't taken the time to stop and think about that. And I think that without knowing that, any
Mhm.
marketing strategy is going to fail.
Yep.
Um, and the be human component. is a symptom of that. We all think we can just say we're being human and we're humanizing technology, but we don't actually know what that means. And a lot of this goes back to that whole marketing and sales is a bit dirty and it feels uncomfortable, and we want immediate results. And where I see a lot of the troubles come out of that is the owner thinks that, oh, I can just hire a marketing company, they'll do all the work for me, and leads will magically happen. But what I know from experience, and probably what you have to do and educate with a lot of the MSP clients, is actually the owner needs to be pivotal in being involved in all the marketing activities.
Yeah.
That's how the language and the culture comes through, because it's them actually feeding it. And if you're the actual expert, which you should be in the industry,
Yeah.
only you can talk to that expertise. You can't, like, I look from what I do. There's no way I could hire you, Lauren, and go, here, turn all this knowledge that I've got into great content and feed me leads. But I'm not gonna feed you any information. I'm not gonna do any work. Like,
Yeah.
does that make sense?
It's
Like,
no,
is that
yeah,
how it
it's a
works?
partnership. It's completely a partnership, and I do find that initially, after we have that conversation, I have to really make it clear that we have to work together to do this. It is not something that you can just hire someone, whether it be internally or an agency like mine. We have to work together to get results. And and sales, if that isn't the business owner, it isn't something that you can just switch on. And just going back to really adding what you're saying about the content that's being delivered and not being like their voice. If we take an example like Web3 and the metaverse and stuff like that, which really excites us, in the techie or like social space. And that's fine. And it is going to eventually play a role in business. But the way that if you deliver it to your clients, you have to say, well, what value did they get out of this? Well, unless they've got some technical interest, they aren't going to want to consume that content unless you, for example, go, all right, well, I'm working with non-profits. All right, how can I apply this technical interest and where we think the future is going into that scenario? So, all right, let's say we're working with NFPs. Previously they would run in-person events to raise funds. Then obviously with COVID, everything became virtual, and then metaverse would potentially be the next step. So it's getting those, inspiring the business owners of those companies. But even then, I don't think that they're ready for that conversation. Their clients are, and the MSPs don't really know what is valuable to their target audience just yet. But they do have the MSPs have the expertise and the knowledge, and they need to work with a marketer to be able to deliver that in a consumable way and determine what the values are to their audience.
I think right there, the word target audience is very important, because most MSPs I come across, like probably at least 80%, and I'm being generous, are horizontal. So they have no particular niche at all that they're dealing with, and this is where it starts to become more difficult, because now we have to go blanket generic stuff where the MSPs that have a niche in either a vertical or a technology stack or solutions can then be a lot more targeted in their message, because then they can, like what you just said with the not-for-profit, really resonated with me. If I'm an executive in a not-for-profit, I'm worried about what my issues are today. So we mentioned the whole strategic partnership thing. I think it's important that us as MSPs actually understand where we sit on the hierarchy tree as well. Like, we talk a big game around being strategic partners. We're not. We're not sitting at that board level helping them decide where their organization and business are actually going. We're very typically two or three decisions down the tree. So if you stop and think about your clients and how they come to you and how they engage you for projects and stuff, it's very rarely ever you going, here's what you need to do to transform your business. They're going to come and say, oh, I'm not for profit. We're implementing the CRM. What do we need to do to implement it properly and then be able to maintain it? That's the kind of level of conversation. But we all feel and think that's the strategic engagement, but it's not. And by understanding that, that's where you can flip the script on either actually becoming that strategic engagement properly or understanding reality, because most of the businesses we work with are fairly immature organizations themselves, is most people are worried about the issue right in front of them. So if we're talking like you were talking about with like, oh, the metaverse and stuff that's coming, it's theoretical, it doesn't really exist yet. It's not really a thing. Where, say, a not-for-profit could be struggling with managing their donations because they don't have a very good CRM. They might be struggling with onboarding new people because we've got all this churn. Things that are affecting us right now. That's where I find even myself gravitate to of like, that's the content that I actually stop and read because it means something now. Is that how to get more eyeballs on it, or like what would normally be a strategy for a small organization like us that can't afford the big branding like Apple and things? Like, what sort of level would we normally be targeting to get results?
It's going to start with your knowledge with that particular industry and picking a vertical that you want to stick with and that you excel with, and listening to their problems also beyond IT. So, because it doesn't always come to them because they're not technically minded. They'll go, I have an onboarding problem, or I have a recruitment problem, or I have a CRM, and they'll go, they won't put two and two together that, oh, my IT, provider can perhaps help me with that. It's then actually going in and understanding, what are their broader issues and being more consultative and trying to understand their audience a lot more. I find that a lot of MSPs are just going in and going, oh, okay, well, their machines are running slower and, they're on-prem, let's move them to the cloud. So as part of the strategy with, that I build with clients is, sit in and go, all right, well, how about we start with even surveying your existing customers and finding out a little bit more about them on even a personal level as well, because that'll also help us find lookalike audiences and kind of the behaviors and things. So, where do they spend most of their time? But yeah, it comes back to just listening to the actual problems of their clients. But again, there's that education piece that I have to do with MSPs to go, stop telling me that their technical problems, tell me their business problems, who they are, because then you may be able to find a technical solution for it. But then, unless it's, my computer's not working, which, okay, but MSPs don't want computers breaking as a business. They want to manage IT. They want to be that, strategic partner. They want to be on the seat. They want to be the VCIO. And like you said, they're not. They want to be, but they are the afterthought. They aren't the ones the business owners are actually going, I've got a problem, and turning to as an equal, level at a board level. They're having that board level conversation and then inviting you in. Whereas if you were privy to those conversations, you may be able to find technology solutions. So, but you've got to build trust to get there, and they've got to know who you are. You've got to have you've got to have testimonials. You've got to have things and evidence to show that, whether that's socially or whatnot, that you can do that and you deserve a seat at that table. But just saying that you can be a VCIO, they again don't. They look at it very differently to how MSPs are pitching it.
And I think too, thinking about what you just said, a lot of MSPs don't actually say what they do. I look at when I look at the websites, when I look at like the agreements that people have with their clients, they like, what do we actually do? And very few people can sit there and articulate what our engagement actually looks like with the client. It always defaults to, oh, we'll just manage your environment. It's very vague. It's not really talking about any real outcomes for the clients. So
Mm-hmm.
we're a necessity for most organizations to help with IT, but then it's smoke and mirrors. So this whole being able to talk and market and drive sales from the very outset, if a client doesn't, if a prospect doesn't really know what you're doing, it's a bit of a crapshoot to close and convert them from there. And we default back to, oh, we provide an RMM, we manage their environment, we keep their sort of infrastructure stable. What does that actually mean to the clients themselves? And yes, it does help greatly to have a niche that you're working in that you can directly target the language. But I think even if you're horizontal and generic, there's better ways to say actually what we do. And this goes back to all the websites look the same. Every time I jump on the websites, it's always just, it mentions managed services. What is managed services? All right, we provide M365. Like, what does that do for the client? And that's that actually humanizing component that we keep talking about. That's how you get the results. And I know myself as being a business owner and doing this stuff with MSPs, it's very hard to do, like, get that knowledge out of your brain. Like, you might know and be able to articulate it with being asked questions, but again, if you're not willing to put the time into the marketing component and build a strategy first and treat this as a long-term objective, you just won't. I've just seen time and time again, people don't get the results. And that's why we're talking now, is because there's not many people actually educating the MSPs around what to do right and how to think about it so that they can engage with it. And I think while I'm in my rambling mode, a part of this is a lot going back to those owners whether they really want it or not as well. So if you don't really want to grow your business, why would you really invest time and effort into marketing?
Yeah, because they're scared of the investment as well. They see the dollar sign and they go, oh, well, actually, maybe we can just keep trying for a little bit longer ourselves without marketing. Yeah, it's not going to work.
Well, and to be fair too, like, a lot of MSPs have invested a lot of money in marketing. And what I've seen, being on the other side of the fence, not being a marketing expert, is much like MSPs. There are very good MSPs that are very mature and educate their clients. There's marketers that are in the middle that can help with some strategy and they can help with some execution. But a lot of marketers are very much like how MSPs are, very transactional. They're letting the client and prospect lead the engagement and tell them what to do. And if you're working with a marketer that's not pushing back and actually working as a partnership and leading you through it, probably not the right person to be working with, because they're just going to tell you to do Google AdWords and SEO kind of activities, and you're just going to burn your money. And that's often what happens. And this is where it's a bit ironic, where we always talk about we're a strategic industry, but we very rarely, and I challenge MSPs all the time, we very rarely engage with our other business support partners in that strategic manner. We treat them how we let our clients treat us. That transactional, not a seat at the table, not sharing enough information. So we can't really be both. We've either got to work in that transactional manner, or we've got to, like, actually as a business have that culture of we're working strategically and we're working in partnerships.
Yeah, I think I've been quite lucky with the MSPs that I work with, and that I'm almost seen as that extra seat at the table. to have those broader conversations. So, recently we've been working with one on recruitment. So not generating leads or sales, but an issue that they have within their business. As we all know, there's skill shortages across Australia. How can we use marketing to help with that issue? Initially, a business owner will go, I've got a problem with recruitment. All right, I must speak to HR. I must speak to a recruiter. Their mindset goes straight there. My mindset goes, well, how can I use marketing to help add value to that area? So again, I listen to their other problems beyond what they think is marketing. So, okay, well, what are you doing on socials to build an environment or showcase the culture within your business? Are you promoting, that you've gone and done these particular events? Are you talking, and are you promoting, staff successes? Are you sharing journeys where you perhaps, hired someone at, junior level and now they've grown? Because a lot of, again, people that are looking to enter into the workforce are more drawn to the company culture than, the company necessarily itself or what it is, and again, with more jobs than people right now, they have the choice. So, equal pay, same industry, who am I going to go with? They're going to pick culture. So applying that way that I look at things with marketing and helping MSPs need to be doing the same thing and having that broader, really understanding their audience. What are they trying to achieve? And like you were saying with pitching M365 and, okay, as a business owner, right, I know I need Word, Excel and stuff, but you're selling you need to sell the outcome. What are they going to be able to do or achieve with that? Power Automate being something that's, super powerful as part of that. You turn around and try and pitch Power Automate, they'll go, Power what now? What is the outcome they're going to get from using that? And then whether it is something to, again, show that you have, knowledge and expertise, provide people with, free, valuable content, build trust, and then get them in and show them what more they can do with that. So, yeah, it needs to be outcome based. But again, yeah, as if you go to a standard marketer, again, like you said, they're just going to give you you could run AdWords or SEO and list off heaps of different things. It needs to be as a marketer, we can know the best ways to get greater reach and exposure and tap into different techniques here and there. But again, the MSPs are the ones that are going to know, okay, what can Power Automate do? And then just try and flip the thinking around it to the outcome, opposed to actually just building an automation. Because, yeah, a lot of MSPs I hear talking, let's automate your business, well, automate what? What am I going to achieve from that? Can we put it into a real scenario and actually and perhaps demonstrate it in some way? Do we have a case study that we can show off? There's a lot of proof you need to do. And again, we need to try and get rid of those smoke and mirrors, to a point, to show that, because, you guys do bring a lot of, they do bring a lot of value. So it's actually just trying to convey that in a way that the audience, one, cares about and can do something with it.
I think a really interesting point there, like the marketing around for recruitment, and that is very important, because most MSPs aren't marketing on social media at all. And when they are, it's usually just throwing out more of that generic technology stuff on Facebook. But the audience is knowing where, not just who you're trying to target. So you mentioned there with the recruitment, we've spoken, obviously, we always go straight to prospects is our marketing. It's also existing clients to help educate them and keep them engaged. But there's also vendors. I've seen some very successful marketing campaigns from some MSPs that it's all focused on just maintaining visibility with the vendors to get support and drive the relationship and drive leads and stuff to maintain that sort of partnership. So there's different strategies and there's different audiences in there, and knowing your audience and who they are, then you can better target them on the different platforms. And it's not just electronic, right? Like we're talking about Google AdWords and SEO and social media. It's obviously a whole other world there of opportunity. And I'm assuming we could talk all day about this, so we'll have to do another session on it. But really knowing the audience is what I'm getting out of this conversation today. To develop a strategy, you can't develop a strategy if you don't know who you're trying to get. And that's, I think, we get where all the problems start. And the sooner we can understand the purpose behind the marketing. I've mentioned a few times around do the owners really want to grow, and do they want to put any effort in here? And a lot of that stems from lack of purpose. It's just like, oh, it's marketing something that we have to do, and without really understanding it, we haven't gotten good results in the past, and we've burnt a lot of money, so we'll switch off to it. But that's because we haven't had a proper strategy, and we're not investing enough time in understanding and creating a strategy, because I'll be honest, most MSP owners don't actually want to grow their business that much. They've got the average range really for MSPs in this part of the world is 1 to 3 million. We get up to that point, and most have stopped growing. They've run out of the friends and family circle. Things have changed. Sales has gotten a lot more difficult, and there's a topic in itself, the interaction between marketing and sales. But we often forget we built the business on the back of that friends and family circle, and all we did back in the day was say, here's my hourly rate, let's just get started. That's not how MSPs work today. So the sales cycles are longer, they're more complicated, and that marketing to get someone in the door, even if we're generating leads, then the close rates come into play. But it all meshes into, what's our purpose? What's my long-term strategy for the business itself? Am I trying to grow it to a $10 million company? Am I trying to just maintain what I've got and just have really good clients and stay the same sort of size and look after my staff and be more profitable? Am I trying to grow into a big behemoth $100 million company? It all flows from that purpose, and then marketing can flow into that and then help with who we're targeting and things like that based on that bigger thought.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, a lot of the ones that at the beginning when we first start talking don't know the numbers, haven't set goals. So how are you going to measure what I'm doing and whether it's successful? How are we going to both know that, yeah, I'm providing value and that, you're, reaching your goals. So yeah, totally understanding why you're doing it, knowing, what you're trying to achieve and the value that you bring, understanding your audience, and then, yeah, diving into actually, yeah, what value you can bring them.
What would you give from the conversation today? What would be the one thing you'd want to make sure that people really walk away from today that they can go and think about and do that's going to help them?
Strengthen your brand, strengthen your identity, get a sense of who you are, then start running campaigns. But if you go running straight into, building a website, doing SEO, doing, social, but you're unclear, you're just going to look schizophrenic to your audience, and then that's going to cause them, to have distrust or not sure who they're going to work with. So identify who are you, what are you doing, what's your purpose? And that's why there are agencies like that mine that can help sit down and kind of walk you through the process to strengthen your brand, and how you go to market, and then the campaign can begin.
It's a bit like when we engage clients as an MSP, we don't just want to dive in and make it up as we go. There's a reason why more of us are doing audits, why more of us do the roadmap processes, to create that structure that we can actually live up to and measure. So my bit of advice to wrap up would be, stop treating marketing like a transactional game, and
Mm,
actually look at it as it's going to be a business transformational activity, and it's going to take years to do right, and there's different phases. And when you go
mm,
look for someone, is be more critical, be more purposeful of understanding who you're talking to. Are they actually going to provide the advice and guidance and direction, or are you just getting someone that's going to do what's told? And if it's going to be blind leading the blind, just don't spend money. That's
yeah.
that would be my advice.
Yeah, and because our models are very similar, a marketing agency to an MSP. So we generally speak the same language, understand the same. We operate in a very similar model. So yeah, if we can work together and both have an equal seat at the table and work together, then yeah, it'll be more successful.
I,
Cool.
I know
Well,
we
thank
could
you so
talk.
much for your time. Yeah. But it's been great catching up. And yeah, I know you're off traveling around. So when you get back, we'll pick this up. And yeah, because there's lots to talk about.
We, and it's so important. There's so much value for
Mm.
MSPs to get into marketing, especially how much opportunity is coming up. So thanks for having me, and we'll do some more sessions in the future.
Sounds good.